You are here because somewhere, at a level deeper than thought, you already decided. You might think you stumbled across this message by chance, but chance is the word we use for patterns we haven't yet learned to see. There is a design too. This moment, your higher self has been steering you toward it with subtle nudges. With tiny whispers you may have ignored before, but not this time. This time you listened, *, there's an internal narrator in you, a voice you've carried for years, maybe decades. It speaks in your tone, uses your memories, wears the clothes of reason, calls itself caution, maturity, practicality, but it's something else entirely. It is fear masquerading as wisdom, shaped by every disappointment, every criticism, every time you were told to be realistic. It was built from the echoes of other people's doubts, the weight of their limitations. Pressed onto your shoulders until you carried them as your own, *, it learned to anticipate rejection before you even try. To save you from failure, it convinces you not to hope. And the longer you believe it, the deeper it roots itself. Filtering everything you see, deciding which dreams are worth chasing and which ones you must abandon. But here's what that voice will never tell you. It doesn't know the future any better than you do. It only knows the past, and assumes tomorrow will be nothing more than yesterday on repeat. *. You've had moments when inspiration hit you like lightning. You saw a clear picture of who you could become, what you could create, where you could go. And in those moments, you felt unstoppable till the voice appeared, screaming, not dramatic, just softly laying out its case. What if you fail? What will they think? You're not ready? You don't have the time, the money, the skills? This isn't the right moment. And in that hesitation, possibility evaporated. *. This is how most lives are lost, not in explosions, but in quiet, invisible surrenders. Dreams fade not because we choose to abandon them, but because we wait too long to act. Neuroscience calls this the 5-second rule. You have a tiny window between the spark of an idea and the arrival of doubt. In that window, you either move or you hesitate. Those who move change their lives. Those who hesitate relive the same year over and over until they call it a life. * This 5-second window is more than action, it's commitment. It's the split-second choice to side with your future self over your present comfort. In every breakthrough you've ever witnessed began with someone deciding within that small space of time that they would move before fear could anchor them. * But fear is clever. Doesn't often come dressed as panic, it comes dressed as logic. Hides inside sensible-sounding thoughts. Let's wait until we have a better plan. We need more certainty. This isn't the right season. We should be realistic. And most people nod along, mistaking that fear for wisdom, letting it lull them into another year of inaction. * The people you admire, those who seem fearless, are not without fear. They've simply stopped negotiating with it. They've learned that courage is not the absence of fear, but action in spite of it. They know that confidence isn't what allows you to act. Acting is what creates confidence. Every person who has ever done something extraordinary began unprepared. They began unsure. They began scared. * Look at history's innovators. Edison failed more than 1,000 times before creating the light bulb. The Wright brothers had never built a plane before they flew one. Jobs started Apple in a garage. Zuckerberg launched Facebook in a dorm room. None of them had permission, perfect timing, or complete readiness. They moved anyway. And the path revealed itself because they began walking it. *, and here's the truth there, is no right moment. There is only this moment. Every day you wait, you are not standing still. You are moving backward, because life does not pause for you to decide. The window you have right now will never exist again in quite the same way. * This is why the universe placed you here.
Reading these words.
This is why you felt that subtle pull not to scroll away. Somewhere deep inside, this is a crossroads. You can feel it, the sense that force is larger than you have aligned. That everything you've lived through until now was a preparation for this exact moment. * You are not reading by accident. You are answering a call. What happens next will not be determined by luck or timing or whether you feel ready. It will be determined by the choice you make right here, in this breath, in this beat of the heart. Asterisk, because here's the quiet truth. No one tells you every dream you've ever had. Every moment of inspiration, every desire you've carried, but never acted on, they are still waiting for you. They have not died. They are alive, but they cannot move toward you until you move toward them. Asterisk, and the longer you wait, the more you teach your mind to hesitate, to mistrust your own impulses, to second-guess the very signals your higher self sends you. Hesitation becomes habit, and habit becomes identity, until one day you no longer feel the pull toward more, you only feel the numbness of the life you've settled for. Asterisk, but you can disrupt it. You can choose differently. And when you do, the universe will respond, not with guarantees, but with openings, with alignments, with moments that feel like miracles, but are really the natural result of you stepping into the current of your own potential. Asterisk. You already know which choice is yours. The voice inside that says stay safe is loud, but the one that says it's time is the truth. And right now, the only thing standing between you and the life you could be living is the decision to act, before fear gets the chance to speak again. Asterisk. The future does not appear fully formed. It takes shape one decision at a time, one risk at a time, one step into the unknown after another. And in every moment, the choice is the same. Remain who you are, or become who you could be. Growth is never comfortable. It will require you to walk away from the version of yourself that got you here, because that version cannot take you any further. Asterisk, the old you will fight to stay. Ready that there's still something else you need before you can begin. It will try to keep you inside the walls it built, because those walls feel like home. But a prison can feel like home when you've lived in it long enough. Asterisk, you must be willing to let parts of yourself die, the doubts, the excuses, the stories. You've been telling yourself about why it's safer to wait. You have to leave them behind, even if they've been with you for years. Because every step into your future requires a burial of something from your past. Asterisk, and when you feel that familiar resistance, when you hear the quiet whisper telling you to wait, to slow down, to think it over, that's the signal to move. That's the moment to take the leap. Not when the fear subsides, but while it's still there, because that's when change is forged. The resistance you feel is not a warning sign to stop, it's proof that you're standing at the edge of transformation. Asterisk, the life you want will not arrive by accident. It will not wander in while you sit and wait for it to knock on your door. It is built in real time by the choices you make while your heart is pounding, by the risks you take when nothing is certain, by the moments you decide to move without knowing how it will end. Asterisk, and here's the paradox: once you commit, the path begins to reveal itself. Opportunities that were invisible suddenly appear. People you were meant to meet begin crossing your path. Doors you didn't even know existed begin to open. The momentum builds and the impossible begins to feel inevitable. Asterisk, but none of that can happen until you decide. The universe is a mirror. It reflects not what you want, but what you believe you are willing to claim. If you hesitate, it mirrors hesitation. If you move, it moves with you. Right now, in this instant, it is watching to see which signal you send. Asterisk, you've felt the signs. You've noticed the synchronicities. You've seen how certain words, certain moments, certain chances seem to arrive with perfect timing. That's not randomness. It's alignment. It's the same alignment that brought you here, reading this, feeling that unmistakable truth deep in your chest, that you are meant for more than this, and that the time to begin is now. Asterisk, you've carried dreams for years. Some you've spoken aloud, most you've kept hidden, waiting for a moment when everything would feel perfect. But perfection never comes. There is only this breath, this heartbeat, this choice. Asterisk, and here's the truth. If you turn away now, life will go on. The days will keep passing, the routines will hold you, and in time, the pull toward more will grow faint. You will start to tell yourself stories about why it never happened, about how it was never meant to be. And those stories will sound like truth, but they will only be echoes of the moment you chose not to act. Or you can step forward now. before your mind has time to retreat. You can claim this as the day you stopped waiting, the day you stopped preparing and started becoming, the day you stepped out of the holding pattern and into the current of your life. Asterisk, the reality is, you don't need permission. You don't need certainty. You don't need every piece in place before you begin. You need only to take the first imperfect step and trust that the rest will follow, because it will. Asterisk, every great life is built in moments exactly like this, moments where the only thing between where you are and where you could be is the courage to decide. And when you decide, you send a signal that echoes into every corner of your existence. The world rearranges itself around your choice. Asterisk, so breathe in. Feel your heart beating in your chest. You are standing at the door of your next chapter, and the handle is in your hand. All that's left is to turn it. Asterisk, do not let this be another moment you remember as the time I almost did. The moment you stopped, hesitating. The moment you trusted yourself enough to move. The moment everything began to shift. Asterisk, you felt it since you started reading, that sense that this was meant for you, that it found you for a reason. That is your sign. That is your green light. That is the universe leaning in, whispering, go. Asterisk, and when you do, when you step into motion, you will feel it, the click of alignment, the rush of momentum, the unmistakable knowing that you've just crossed the threshold into the life you were meant to live. Asterisk, it's not waiting. Somewhere far away, it begins here. It begins now. Asterisk, your future self is watching. Give them something to thank you for. Asterisk.